starting to think it isn't possible
to produce a video in a timely manner.
No shit.
Rey finds Palpatine, but guess what? This was all according to his plan.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Well, actually, I never wanted you dead. I only pretended to send assassins after you repeatedly so that you would come to kill me so I could possess your body and be Empress of all the galaxy.
Alright, break time. Let's examine Palp's master plan, starting from the end of Return of the Jedi to now. I'm assuming Palp's being betrayed by Vader was an error.
The great error is corrected.
But death didn't stick, so Palps phasmoed off the Death Star and hid on Accel. By whatever Sith technology, he grew some pre-ripped Snokes and released one into the wild. Snoke went after Han and Leia's son, Kylo, presumably because Palps was puppeting him to do so. And if Palpatine is Snoke, that means Palps also created the First Order, pulled crazy resources together to hollow out a planet, in which they installed a super Death Star 10 times the size of the previous Death Stars in total secrecy, then used the Starkiller to blow up the Republic in one fell swoop. Insanely impressive. Shame about losing the Starkiller because of the second most traitorous bitch to ever live, but fortunately Palpatine didn't keep his crazy amount of eggs in one hollowed out planet. In fact, the First Order still had enough Star Destroyers left over to take over all the major systems within weeks. And Palps didn't stop there. In his back pocket he had another fleet, all outfitted with miniaturized Death Star cannons. Not taking any chances this go around, Palps probably didn't account for the most traitorous bitch to ever live, but with her help, the First Order annihilated most of the resistance with just a handful of Star Destroyers, leading to a near total victory. And after Luke Skywalker's apparent suicide, there was no one left to threaten his rule. Palpatine had won, totally and completely. Except he succumbed to the horny. Sometime before getting chucked down Death Star 2, Palps had gotten a little sheep up and gone to Pound Town without wrapping his saber.
I can't hold on any longer.
Palps had a son, Junior, who was so freaked out he came from the ball sack of a ball sack that he ran off. Junior found a nice lady and had a daughter, Rey Palpatine, the inheritor of her grandfather's power. Grand Palps had an assassin hunt little Rey down to capture her alive, but I guess she's immune to tracking fobs or whatever, and ouchie up and killed the only people who knew where she was. Then got himself killed. Whoopsie daisy. Luckily for Palps, the First Order would later go after some rando who just happened to be hanging out in Rey's desert on Jakku, so Rey could coincidentally meet a droid and a deserting First Order stormtrooper and be whisked away on a whirlwind adventure that was actually part of a Reylo prophecy to bring Rey together with Kylo Ren in a forced bond called a dyad. Oh, hold up. Dyad. Ignorant of this dyad, Palpatine sent Loverboy to kill Rey, even though he wanted her alive. But it was all an elaborate wingman ploy to set Kylo up with his own granddaughter so that Rey could get Kylo's Chaos Gem and come directly to Palpatine, where he could reveal to Rey she was his nobody all along.
You have his power. You're his
Nobody.
Her bond with Kylo is because they shared a Palpoo fruit as kids, and they had just forgotten Palpatine used to set up playdates for them on Island World. And for the final stroke of his master plan, Palpatine will merge with Rey and Kylo to become Master Reyonort, then find and become one with Kingdom Hearts. And that's it. It ain't that convoluted if you pay attention. Now please, pay no attention to how Kylo gets to Accel after losing 2 ships, the First Order, and his Chaos Gem.
What the fuck?
Rey and Kylo fight off the Knights of Ren, together. Aww. Rey even teleports a saber to Kylo like he forgot to bring a pencil for today's test. Oh, now we know what happened to Houdini's knife. The Knights are no challenge to them whatsoever, yet afterward Palpatine still sends them to their knees and sucks out their life force, because that's something he can do. Their force bond provides him enough energy to be restored to his former glory, so he nixes his transition and dives into the Fountain of Youth. When he's done, he throws Kylo down a hole, then electrifies the sky, because that's something he can do. The lightning is so discerning that it only affects the good guys, but none of them explode or suffer critical damage or collide with each other or the gigantic destroyers. So no biggie. It's just another light show. Rey watches on in horror and once again calls out to the past Jedi. And in her time of need, they finally answer.
Be with me. I don't think they like me.
Can't imagine why.
And here we are at last, the final battle of the Skywalker trilogy. Palpatine versus Palpatine, with the last Skywalker sent straight to hell. Palp starts zapping Rey's saber and says,
I am all the Sith.
Rey's epic response,
And I'm all the Jedi.
Fuck. She really is the Jedi Avatar. It was supposed to be a joke, but now it's a whole thing every fucking time. I swear they're lifting imagery and elements straight from the show too. An underground bunker as an all-out battle rages above. The good guys have a tight time limit and must exploit the bad guys' weakness. A confrontation of family, dual-wielding swords, the lightning redirection. All that's missing are the accompanying tension, good writing, and soul. Really, what the fuck am I looking at here? A minute ago, Palps was cooking the sky without a care inside this world, but now he can't get past a saber? Oh fuck, 2 lightsabers. Well golly, he never stood a chance. So if I got this right, if you want to deflect lightning betterer, just add another saber. Mace, pick up one from one of your fallen comrades. Ah shit. Ah well, just didn't train as hard as Rey to know better. I'm not even sure how he was granted the rank of Jedi Master, to tell you the truth, because it's totally possible to learn this power, and not just from a Sue. Luke Overman didn't even need a saber. He blocked that shit with his own body. Rey electrocutes Palps with his own lightning. Palpatine doesn't take his lightning as well as Luke did though, and so he explodes. For real this time, promise. But he doesn't even transfer into Rey like he said he would, probably because she's dead. Kylo climbs back out of the hole because falling down an endless pit doesn't mean jack shit in this galaxy. He sidles on up to Rey, uses some force heal, and would you look at that? She really is a Palpatine.
I have died before.
Now, I don't want to rely on any reductive labels here, but I've noticed a lot of Gary Stews like to come back from the dead. Kirito, Neo, Harry Potter, Sonic, Christ. So, you know, what does that make Rey? A female Gary Stew? Do we have a word for that? Rey and Kylo finally share their first kiss. But Rey sucks out his fucking soul through it. Here I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if a million voices suddenly cried out in anger and would not be silenced. Kylo pieces out because he's a true Jedi, unlike Rey, who stuck around to be revived like a Sith. Finn and the rest take out that tower, Lando brings the cavalry, and they kill everybody. Hey, a little trivia for you. Did you know the Sith Eternal Fleet seen in #Star Wars, #The Rise of Skywalker, was created by Sith cultists on Exegol, who indoctrinated Exegol's population with Sith values and raised and trained their children to become officers, mechanics, and soldiers for the Final Order. Hey, no need for that, Mr. Wood.
Keep your fucking trivia.
Now, this might just be me, but I think it's a little better that the Resistance kill faceless goons of evil and not helpless people indoctrinated into occultist children. Little details like that kinda suck out the magic, you know? There was once a simpler time when, for example, stormtroopers were just straightforward bad guys, and taking them out was morally uncomplicated. But now they're kidnapped as children and brainwashed into becoming remorseless killers. The heroes aren't just killing bad guys anymore, now they're getting rid of damaged goods. Even though any one of these broken people could be another Finn with just the right nudge.
Poof, you're good now.
Now they'll never see the light after being taken out of sanitation and put on an execution squad. It didn't have to be this way, but it be. With the Eternal Fleet gone, the good guys promptly mopped the floor with the First Order across the galaxy. And that's it, the Resistance wins. All this time they just needed to get off their asses and do it. The Resistance get to celebrating back on Jungle World, hugging, kissing, and completely ignoring the Second Order, retreating to the shadows, biding its time into the sequel trilogy. Race Mixo has moved on, these lesbians are dropped harder from Middle Eastern theaters than their rooftops, and Finn finally lands the man of his dreams. Warren Shioda gives Chewie the medal he was snubbed for in A New Hope, and he's like,
Where'd you get that?
and she's like,
A good question. For another time.
Lando has a touching scene with Jana.
Where are you from, General?
The gold system. What about you, kid?
I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
Maybe more than touching. And Rey group hugs her friends. All's well that ends well. Such a shame Leia died before she could see this. By Rey's hand. Rey goes to Tatooine and buries Luke and Leia's lightsabers in the sand, as Uncle Anakin tries spinning in his space grave. It's okay though, Rey's got her own lightsaber now. It's yellow. An old lady somehow sneaks up on Rey from in front of her in the desert and asks Rey who she is.
I'm Rey.
Rey who? 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 Who?
Rey Skywalker.
You watch your gaping mouth.
Who are you?
I'm Rey.
Rey who?
Rey Sith.
What is this even trying to imply? That Luke and Leia were more like parents to Rey than her actual parents? Yeah, okay, they weren't really around and pretty much sold her into slavery, but they still died protecting her. Is it because she took in Kylo's, essence? So she's basically all that's left of the Skywalkers? Is this JJ's way of saying no one's ever really gone?
Rey Skywalker.
Rey bullshitter is who you are. Girl, you ain't a Skywalker. You're a Palpatine. And even if Rey simply means to continue the Skywalker legacy or whatever, then why did she come to Tatooine to literally bury the remnants of the Skywalker legacy? And no less where Luke's family was killed. Woman, what are you doing? If they absolutely had to pull this bullshit, it should have been Rey Solo.
Who are your people?
I don't have one. I'm just Rey.
Solo?
Han was the first OT character Rey met, and unlike Luke, he actually wanted to take her under his wing.
You're offering me a job.
I'm thinking about it.
He personally went to the Mega Death Star and helped save her dumb runaway ass. And now, thanks to the Solo movie, Rey could have taken on the Solo name, since it's only a placeholder now anyway. She could have transformed it to mean something more than orphan. Solo, a name for a man with no people, could live on with some girl Han randomly connected with. It's like poetry, maybe? Not only that, but the man Rey fell in love with was a Solo. Ben Solo died literally giving her his life force. She's half full of Solo cycled energy. The Reylo stands might have even forgiven JJ if he'd pulled the Titanic.
Dawson.
Who Dawson?
Rose Dawson.
Instead, she's Rey Skywalker. Because fuck it, Skywalker's the central name in Star Wars.
Rey Skywalker.
You get to be a Skywalker. You get to be a Skywalker. Everyone gets to be a Skywalker.
There's been no one for so long. Who are you?
I'll tell you who she is. She's Ma Rey Su. It's done. My verdict? Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker was everything that the sequel fans deserved. You know what I fucking deserve though? An apology, TFA apologist scum.
Rebel scum.
Y'all made such a hullabaloo when I called Kylo a Sith apprentice. A fucking Sith apprentice! A perfectly reasonable inference to make back then. But no! How can Kylo be a Sith apprentice if Snoke's not a Sith Lord? No one ever said Snoke was a Sith. Gollum even said he's not a Sith Lord. Do you even watch the stuff you talk about? And yeah, I made an assumption with no real backing, so I admitted my fault. Kind of. But turns the fuck out, Snoke was Palpatine all along. Palpatine. A Sith.
Fucking Sith.
Nay, not a Sith. All the Sith.
All the Sith.
Kylo was the Sitheth Sith apprentice to have ever fucking Sith. Fuck you, I was right. So there are some nice things to say about the Rise of Skywalker, like Palpatine's redemption arc. I definitely appreciated it more than Kylo's. By his own power and determination, Palpatine created the one true avatar of all the Jedi, electrocuted all of the Sith himself, and double-handedly restored balance to the Force. Sidious was the real chosen one all along. Think about it. He could have easily pointed a Death Star laser at planets across the galaxy. But he didn't. He chose not to, because he sent his Fortnite message out before letting his fleet get into position to be able to do anything. It was he who gave Rey the Chaos Gem by manipulating Kylo. And who put Han in Kylo's head to turn him to the light?
I have been every voice
You have ever heard inside your head.
Good guy Palpatine. What else? Ah, yes. TROS glorifies abusing women.
Yes!
Well, this article is only about how Reylo is the poster coupling of an abusive relationship.
I don't want to have to kill you.
The article tries to back up this assertion with citations and evidence from the movie and shit, but hey, come on, no need. We can tell from how many women really, really like it. And what a happy ending it all was. The galaxy saved? Again? for now. The main OT characters murdered and dead, and Rey even got a boyfriend for almost 10 seconds. JJ, you knocked it out into a bark. JJ and KK, the dream team.
Another happy landing.
Now, there's all this stuff about how Disney might have fucked JJ and his creative vision over, and I don't really want to put down anyone's concern over that. But this is the mouse we're talking about.
Saying yes, I'll do it. That was probably like mistake number one.
They redid like at least a third of Rogue One because they happily let this goofball make a gritty war documentary movie, then decided the tone wasn't lighthearted enough. They're that fucking stupid. These ain't people with a vision. This isn't George Lucas hustling to make a clean sci-fi fantasy movie at a time that wasn't especially friendly to the idea. Disney at the time even turned Lucas down. This is a mega corporation pushing out sad imitations of popular movies because they can. Because there were theme park billions to be made. With so many fingers in this pie, there was exactly zero chance that these movies could come out the other end unmolested. Just like Disney's child actors. Not to say I ever had faith in JJ's vision anyway. I maintain that The Force Awakens, as a soft reboot of Star Wars, could never have been the foundation for something good.
Alright, JJ, we need a main character for our sequel trilogy. They already had a half-orphan boy on a desert planet who tries to spin. Another half-orphan boy on a desert planet who tries rescuing his twin. We need something fresh.
I've got it. So let's do a total orphan on a desert planet. But female. And she doesn't even try.
That's incredible, JJ. Fucking gold, man. Take it. Take all our money.
Now, I ain't saying soft reboots of movies can't work, of course.
Of course!
They just almost always don't. And sure, 90% of anything is shit anyway, but 90% of recyclables would honestly be better off in the trash. Rey was never gonna live up to both Anakin and Luke, so making her a reboot of Anakin and Luke was just mean. Yeah, it's fun to call her a Mary Sue since the examples are just so comically numerous.
The Force is not a power you have. It's not about lifting rocks.
And because it upsets the monogamously challenged.
Fucking hates women so much. Holy shit.
But Mary Sue or not, though she is, Rey needed some kind of fire in her to hold a candle to Anakin or Luke. Instead, her writers completely bypassed the character development when she needed it most. In TFA, Rey is way too blank a slate, too disconnected from everything. An empty vessel to shuffle the audience from flashy, spectacle-laden scene to the next. Second to only being a yawning mouthpiece to gush over the already established beloved characters.
You're Han Solo!
I used to be.
She needed more than that. You can make her the most capable little lady in all the galaxy, but you also have to make her a person. Hanging in a sequel trilogy on a complete fake has only exemplified how fake the rest of the shit has been. Overdone stakes, unintimidating goofy bad guys, geriatric fan service, ruined relationships, senseless character death for shock value. Even Luke is a coward who hides from his friends and family after failing them. That's all from TFA.
Luke felt responsible. He just walked away from everything.
Because he must have been cut off from the Force then too, right? Unless he felt a bajillion voices suddenly crying out from 5 whole-ass planets and, what, hit the snooze button on him? He sure didn't rush on over after feeling his friend take this. Luke should have shown up right here to catch his lightsaber. He should have felt the destruction of the Republic and traced it to Starkiller Base to assist Rey in taking down Kylo. At least Mark Hamill would have been cool with that.
I'll tell you where I thought I came in. In the forest, when the lightsaber goes like this and flies off. I said, oh, what a great entrance. Ah! Rey caught it? She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training. What's the deal?
I joked in my TLJ video that Luke was just suffering from amnesia, but at this point it's perhaps the only explanation that absolves the guy. He wasn't pulling a Yoda or an Obi-Wan, he wasn't protecting anyone. All I see is a cowardly asshole waiting to die.
I came to this island to die.
Of course, JJ didn't intend for that interpretation in TFA, but it's the same as with Lando in TROS. It didn't matter how the Luke reveal fit into the story, so much as it mattered that there was a Luke reveal. Then Ryan came along to torpedo all of JJ's hard work and subvert all our expectations by taking that cowardly asshole and doubling the fuck down on him.
Go away!
If you want to be a nit prick like me, you can even point out that Luke still gives Rey the cold shoulder in TROS, up until she went to his watery grave. Ugh. Maybe it's better to say these movies deserve each other.
It's on fire! Whole thing's on fire! All of it's on fire!
George, I owe you an apology for bashing the prequels as hard as I did. Is what I would say if you hadn't sold them to the white slavers.
All the Star Wars films.
They were your kids.
Yeah, well, they are, right. You know, I loved them, I created them. I'm very intimately involved in them, and obviously to
and
sell
you
them
sold
off.
them.
Matter of fact, George sold Star Wars to the slavers to protect Star Wars.
I really wanted to put the company somewhere in a larger entity which would protect it.
Ironic.
Or was it?
You can actually blog about what we're doing and how we're messing things up.
No.
Or did you leave Star Wars with these corporate hacks because you knew they'd milk it dry, inevitably shitting out movies far, far worse than the prequels could ever have been? All those fanboys who yelled at you and called you terrible, they knew nothing. They needed to see it for themselves, the destruction that only soulless greed can rot. Then they'd be sorry. Then they'd come crawling back, but too little too goddamn late. So you forced unleashed the rat on Star Wars and made off like a bandit to Vindication Ranch.
What advice do you have for Kathy?
Good luck.
The artist really does win in the long run. But for me, it's depressing to see what this wholesome adventure story, albeit also a giant cash cow, has become. Just another vehicle for Disney to advertise their theme parks.
Gotta pretend like I'm an adult.
No, you don't.
It's not even really right to call these movies fan fiction. Do these honestly look like the products of fans? Fan fiction's often made for free out of a passion and admiration for the original work. Or for porn, somehow, these movies are way more perverse. And fanfiction writing is probably better.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But I'm just repeating myself at this point. Been repeating myself since Rogue One. That's enough out of me about Star Wars. I think for good. I can't do another one of these. And anyway, once Disney copyrights Winnie the Chew over there, the happiest oligarchy on Earth will make sure of that. So see you in the next non-Star Wars related video, maybe sometime this year. If not, have a happy year of the rat. What's left of it. Oh hey there kids, it's time for the
Shameless Shekel Shakedown.
I finally got some merch, if you somehow still have disposable income after the coof heard around the world. Because I sure fucking don't. So check that out if you want, link below and shit. All proceeds go to Black Lives Matters.